Hi everyone, it's Alexis with Project Management Made Simple. In this video, I'm going to be giving you all some tips to leading effective project meetings. How many times have you been in a meeting where that meeting ran over, it started late, it wasn't a clear purpose, there were a lot of individuals brought into that meeting and it wasn't entirely clear why you had to be there? Let's talk about some things you can do to lead effective meetings, starting with having a clear purpose and agenda. In every one of my meetings, I strive to have at the very least a purpose. And if it's going to especially be a meeting that's going to be more than an hour long, having a clear agenda and ensuring that that information is sent out beforehand. Chances are when we're having this meeting, we're going to have individuals who are going to be contributing to it. Especially if it's a meeting where it's not just a presentation or a training that we're doing, we want to ensure that we are giving these individuals enough time and enough information so that when they come into the meeting, they can be productive. How many times have we been in calls where someone shows up and says, I haven't had time to get to that, right? So being able to prevent for things like that by talking to those individuals beforehand and asking them, hey, do you have any updates here, or whatever the case may be, and rescheduling or postponing the meeting to a time where it could be more productive. Things like also honoring your time box. So when you're starting the meeting, listing out the agenda, listing out the purpose, and also making explicit whatever the time box is. So if our meeting is 30 minutes, saying our meeting is 30 minutes, we are going to keep to that, right? And so as the facilitator of the meeting, as you're going through all of these housekeeping, you can also consider utilizing what's called a parking lot. Now, this may be referred to as different things in different industries, but really it's just a way for you to acknowledge those items that may come up in the meeting that are off the course of the agenda, but are still relevant to talk about in the future. And so this could be where we have our agenda, and as we're going in the conversation, more than likely, there's going to be a couple individuals who may go off script, or something comes up that needs to be discussed in the future. You could utilize that in a parking lot, and when you start off your meeting, in addition to all the other things that you're going to be mentioning, like your time box, sharing that with everyone and saying, hey, so we're going to utilize a parking lot for those items that may come up. The more that you can be explicit up front in your meeting, the more productive it's going to be. Some other tips to consider could be if you are scheduling a meeting and you notice that the individuals' calendars that you are working with and trying to schedule with are in back-to-back meetings, consider having it on another day. This is another scenario that sometimes is, unavoidable, but wherever we can avoid it, we do want to avoid it, because if that individual's in back-to-back meetings, they're more than likely going to be running behind, and when they do come to the meeting, they may not have had a moment to just take a pause to be able to focus on the topic at hand. So if you can, being able to find those points in which individuals are not in back-to-back meetings, that is something else that is going to be helpful to you in leading effective meetings. And the last 2 points I will share here, one is to have a starting point. So having your purpose and having your agenda is great, but if you can also have a visual such as a dashboard or a slideshow, something that the individuals who are attending, that the meeting attendees, there we go, something that the meeting attendees can look at and can view, and if you can send that out beforehand so maybe they have some time to digest that. Again, these are going to be things that are super helpful and also are going to be appreciated by those meeting attendees. And finally, I would say leaving a couple of minutes at the end of the meeting to be able to review action items is going to be super helpful, because then you can go over who those action items are assigned to, when they're expected to be completed, and answering any clarifying questions so that those actions can actually be completed. I want to thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a thumbs up. If you have any other questions or comments or things to add to the tips that I gave to you all, feel free to leave those below in the comments, and I'll talk to you all in my next video.